Let's talk about this illustration of Katniss and Haymitch. Now, this image was jarring to me because although I always knew that Katniss was small, I don't think I realized how tiny she would look next to a full-grown man. Katniss throughout her life is underfed and underweight, and this illustration is depicting not long after she got out of the games and once more lost a significant amount of weight. In the first book, Katniss mentions how even though most of the tributes haven't been fed properly, most of the boys and half of the girls are bigger than her, meaning she's already probably very small in stature. Though she does mention that she has a healthier body and seems stronger than most of them. That's until she talks about the career tributes. Because according to her, the career tributes are at least 50 to 100 pounds heavier than her. This obviously paints a picture of Katniss being extremely small and underweight. But I think it's hard to imagine for most people what that would actually look like. So seeing this illustration of her with Haymitch was extremely shocking. Obviously, when Katniss talks about Haymitch's quarter quell, she does mention that he looks strong. And although he hasn't been taking very good care of himself due to him being an alcoholic for the last 24 years, he has had access to food whenever he wanted it, meaning he hasn't been starving. So this is an undersized Katniss next to a full-grown man, after Katniss had just been in the Hunger Games and once more lost weight. Due to the movies casting older, I think it's hard for a lot of people to remember how young the tributes really are. And I agree that it makes sense for the movies to cast older people. I mean, the entire series is about child exploitation. But because of this, I think it's hard for most people to remember how small Katniss was in comparison to everybody else. This illustration in particular is depicting Haymitch warning Katniss that the Capitol is upset with her, which paints the picture of Katniss being even smaller. Tiny Katniss versus the Capitol. Katniss versus Snow. Katniss versus a tyrant with unlimited power. A small girl from District 12 versus a dictator. I also love that we finally get to see what book-accurate Haymitch looks like. The similarities between him and Katniss physically because they're both from the seam. And without knowing the context behind this illustration, you might just assume it's a father and a daughter, which is something that I hold dearly. I love this illustration. Honestly, the entire book is beautiful. Let me know what you guys want to hear about next.